back to another video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about some pretty advanced level artificial intelligence engine optimization and SEO. And so what you're looking at on your screen right now is a tool called SplashDash that we're currently building. And on the left side, we have access to a ton of the different features that are actually available with SplashDash. So you have things like search, you have things like domain, keywords, backlinks, social media, demographics, page insights, etc. Each of these different actions perform specific functions. So for example, if I wanted to get an SEO overview of a domain, I can do that. Get historical SEO data, I can do that. Get paid search performance, I can do that. Provide keyword difficulty for terms, I can do that. So each of these little SplashDash APIs have different things that you can do with them. If you've seen my previous videos, you'll know this very comfortably. And if you're currently on the beta, then you will definitely know how this works. So if you've probably seen, Google just came out with their AI conference and they really broke down how they're going to implement SGE to all of their search results. One thing that I saw that was noticeable right away is them using the original, the simpler, and the break it down function, which basically shows a reader or someone who's potentially visiting a website the original version of the article, a simplified version of the article, and that article broken down. And then additionally, another search result that they showed was this was for the keyword 7-day meal plan with microwavable recipes. So they still showed the different websites that are available for these different types of results, which is really great because this means that websites are not irrelevant. And in fact, what you do now, which is digital marketing, or if you're doing SEO, is just going to become even more amplified in a crowded marketplace because of SEO and AI. So if anything, the need for someone like yourself is just going to become strengthened. That is the message that I want to put out there. Because with this AI stuff, we're all thinking that we're going to be replaced, but in reality, it's just going to become more competitive. And if you watch this video and you understand some of the advanced AEO things that we're doing, answer engine optimization or artificial intelligence engine optimization, you're going to be able to know more than the competition to be able to generate better results. But let's actually start with this screenshot here. So original, simpler, and break it down. In one of our previous videos, I showed you how to create content at a pretty intense level by using SplashDash to generate the keywords you want to target, learn information about the business, etc. So some of the things that I show you here today may be a little repetitive, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some brand new features that are going to allow you to position yourself to create much better content than the competition and to make sure that you're targeting the right keyword phrases. So let's hop into our actual SplashDash account. We are going to be working with a client called Bennett Plastics. This is their website. We're redoing their website. This is definitely not something that DevelopMark would do in 2024. This website's 4 years old, so we're redoing their site now, and that's kind of why we're using them as an example. So let's just start by gathering some basic information from them. So as I've mentioned in the previous videos, you can call on every single one of these different integrations by simply clicking the @ button. So for example, if I clicked @ and then I typed in, let's say, domain, I can quickly get information about this domain. And so let's go ahead and start the conversation by doing that. Once I make the call, it's going to go ahead and target the domain. In this case, it's Bennett Plastics. Then it's going to target the root domain. So it's not going to target any of the www or the non-www versions. It's just going to target the root domain. It's going to give me page authority and it's going to show me 5 results. So that's kind of how this works, right? GPT talks to our custom code base that has all of these integrations built in. So that allows you to have one conversation in one application at a time. So let's go ahead and do that. So now that that action has run, it's going to load really quickly and then it's going to give me some basic information here. And remember, guys, what I'm trying to do here, if you're good at, let's say, AI, is what you're trying to do is you're trying to have a conversation to build context to eventually have a really good outcome towards the end with however you want to format that outcome, whether it's an email, whether it's a piece of content, whether it's a text message, a WhatsApp message, whatever it is, you want to make sure that you have really good context to do that. So I can see that Bennett Plastics has a 30-page authority, which is pretty high. So I'm pretty confident we're going to be able to rank for a lot of the terms that we're targeting in general. And as you can see, our main term that we're targeting is plastic injection molding in New Jersey, which you can see they're number 1 on the maps, and then also they're number 1 in the organic listings results. So of course, our goal is to maintain that ranking, but also to introduce new rankings with the new page design that we're going to be working with. So now that you kind of see how an action works, let's go ahead and gather details about the site to give it some context. So I've used Page Insights in previous videos, and basically all this is going to do is it's going to basically allow me to gather content from the domain. And this is really important because it's going to allow AI to talk to our website and gather everything that it needs from this domain. Really, really cool stuff, because now I don't have to guess what this domain is about. I don't have to guess any of the information. AI has now added that domain's information directly into my conversational text. So if I create any content, if I create a report, if I do any action, it's already going to know what it is, and I'm not going to have to explain it too much. Ideally, in AI, you want to be able to get down to the levels of prompts like this where they're not that descriptive, so you can move quickly. So now that I have that general information, the next thing that I could do is I can actually gather its Google business profile information, so I have even more context. So I'm going to copy this text, and then here I'm going to go ahead and call on search. Search basically allows me to gather map data, and then that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to gather some map data on Bennett Plastics. Once again, this is going to target this query, this location, and it's going to give you one result. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, awesome. So there's the Google business profile information directly inside of our contextual window. And now at this point, what I'm looking to do is I'm really looking to figure out what the important keywords are of the term plastic injection molding. Because remember, if we want to be able to rank in these types of results, the original, the simpler, the break it down, we're going to have to create not only content, but an experience for that term that's going to allow the visitor to break this stuff down, and for AI's overview from Google to actually break this stuff down too. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Is I'm going to find all of the different ways that people search for plastic injection molding. So I'm going to ask the actual GPT here, not even SplashDash, to show me all possible terms of how somebody searches plastic injection molding. So there we go. We have all of the different ways that somebody might type in plastic injection molding based on ChatGPT's recollection of this information. So now what my goal is actually to ask our actual keyword tool to do the keyword research for this. So as you can see, now that I've gotten in bulk from AI what people are typing in, now I can use our keyword tool to actually perform keyword research on these terms. And what that's going to allow me to do is it's going to allow me to figure out which ones are searched the most and which ones to prioritize in our web content, so that when we start writing content like I'm going to show you, you're actually going to write it to optimize for the terms that are ranking the highest on the, or that are being searched the most in the Google search results. There's also an additional way of doing this too, and one of those ways is actually by going into the client's Google Search Console and then gathering that data inside of Google Search Console of the terms that people are searching for the most, right? And that's really important to do, because then you can actually get data from that specific website. In this case scenario, I'm giving you data of just generalized information, assuming there isn't a website that you can visit. So you can see that it's going to give me the terms, the keywords, the search volume, the ranking difficulty, the total clicks, cost per click, competition, the search results, etc. So it's going to give me all that stuff. And then it's going to give me the first result of what's actually ranking on Google for those different types of things and the type of content. So now that I have all of these different terms, what I would do in this case scenario is I would filter whichever ones are getting the highest search volume. I can now click filter the keywords by highest to lowest volume, only including the term, the volume, the CPC. So I want to make the data a little cleaner, and I want to make it in descending order of volume highest to lowest. So there we go. So there's kind of our keywords, right? And now what I can do, obviously, is I can screenshot this, or I can do whatever it is that I want with this data and send it to the client, or do whatever it is that I want to do. But that's kind of the terms there, right? You have the keyword, you have the volume, you have the CPC, you have the competition score, and do as you will with this. You can organize them. You can make your pages target this information. Ideally, what you do with this information is you actually go into something like Page Source, you type in title, and then you kind of look at how websites are optimized for these things. One fun thing that I showed in our last video too is I basically asked our tool to basically see how many times these keywords are mentioned on the web page, and then it gave me an analysis to do keyword density. But our goal for this video is not that. Our goal is to tell you how to show up for these 3 different results that Google has just mentioned in their recent press conference that are critical to AI rankings, which is going to take up 30% of the traffic volume on the internet. So very important that if you're doing any advanced level SEO, if you have a commitment to clients, if you want to make sure they win in the AI era in AEO, this is definitely something you're going to want to pay attention to. So now that we have the keyword phrases, I'm going to gather additional data. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to a video. This one is by Proto Labs. Now, it's very important that if we're taking this content, you may want to reference them if you're using it as your own, or if you're using it word by word. What I'm going to do is I'm going to gather the URL of this content. And what I'm going to do is inside of SplashDash, I'm going to call on the actual search API. And search is going to allow me to basically analyze the YouTube video and provide me with a summary of its contents. So what's really cool about that is SplashDash is going to analyze that YouTube video. Generally speaking, newer videos work really well with this. What it's going to do is it's going to take the video ID, and then it's going to take that video, it's going to watch it, and it's going to provide me with a written summary of what this video is about. So you can see how it's giving me all of that information really laid down. What I can do with this information is, one, I can use it as a guide to get my client to write this key information. And then two is I can go ahead and use this content if needed and link back out to Proto Labs, which is the publisher of this information. And that's going to help my SEO. But that's not my goal, right? My goal is to write content that's going to fit Bennett Plastics within these 3 different versions. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to prompt now inside of here, and I'm going to say context, right? I'm writing a piece of content that is broken down into an original version, a simpler version, and a break it down version. You know, these 3 versions are really important for rankings, and they need to be separate. So I'm going to put that. Then as the role, you are a content manager and a marketing agency writing content for, and then I'm going to change this to Bennett Plastics because that's what we're talking about in this video. And then the task, taking the content above and its keywords, write an original article, a simpler version, and a break it down version. Bold the mention of your keywords to ensure SEO efficiency. And then I'm also going to ask the AI to use all of the content in our conversation, which is really just this context window that I've done. So before I do this, let's recap. So to start, I wanted to show you how this works. That's why I did this. And then I went ahead and got information about the company. So now our conversation has context of what Bennett Plastics is. It knows that it's from Paterson, New Jersey, 15 minutes away from New York City, and the company operates a 36,000 square foot facility, and it can model equipment ranging from this much ton of pressure. It does these things, and this information is coming directly from the website. So you can probably see how important it is that we still make websites, because that's where AI is getting its information. Then what I did is I went ahead and after I did that analysis, I then went ahead and gathered map data. So now ChatGPT, SplashDash knows where this business is and its business information. Then I went ahead and asked it to hypothesize all of the popular keywords that this business should be targeting, which it did. Then I went ahead and did a competitive research to figure out who's ranking for those keywords. YouTube was a popular result. So then I found the most popular video on YouTube, which was this one. And then I went ahead and asked it to format that data in a clean, readable way so that when I'm done writing this content and I have the client approve it, I now have reasoning as to why I'm doing what I'm doing. You know, many times SEO marketing agencies or digital marketing agencies, what they'll do is they won't explain what they're doing, and the client's just sitting there confused. They don't know what you're doing. You have to explain to them what you're doing. So if you're going to be doing any sort of advanced SEO where you're making your clients thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars online, it really helps them understand where your strategy is and your thought leadership. So ChatGPT is a great way to do that. And then what I did was I took a video that's really popular and I had it summarize it. So now I have some really good content, some really good information. And if I take any of that content, I'm going to want to highlight it to Proto Labs. And now what I've done is I wrote a last prompt, context, role, task. That's how you should break out all of your LLM requests. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to have it generate this content for Bennett Plastics custom. And now it's going to give me the original article. So that original article is going to look like this, which is basically going to say plastic injection molding is a versatile manufacturing process, with over 25,000 material options. So it's going to combine what it knows about Bennett Plastics and what it does for the video and everything else that we kind of talked about. Then it's going to give me a simpler version, which is a broken down version with less text. And then it's going to give me a break it down version. Now, as long as this content is added to the client's website, what's going to happen is when SGE becomes something that's very important, your site has a much higher chance for ranking for these different AI overview snippets in Search Generative Experience. Guys, once again, the word is there. It's revealed. It's called experience. Search Generative Experience, meaning if you can provide an experience with your web page or your text, you're going to have a much higher chance of ranking inside of these little snippets, which is going to drive your site more traffic. Very important to realize. So now that I have these different options, what I can now do is I can now have it actually write an email to basically tell the client what we're doing here. So in this case, the context is let's say you're sending an email. You're a marketing manager. In the format of a short email, send these recommendations to the clients, right? Highlight your thought process, your keywords, and give them the sample content to review. So now I have the text that I'm going to use, and then I'm also going to gather the thought process behind this. So this is the exact email that I would be sending over to the client. I might do something like put this into a Google Doc. I might do something like put this into a Word doc just so they can approve it, or put it into a project management tool like we use called Basecamp. So this is a lot of things that you can do to actually, once you have a lot of context, the world is really your oyster and you can communicate much more effectively. So it's going to take that text, right? It's going to break it down, basically how it did it before. And then what it's going to do is it's going to basically ask them, to review the information and then approve it. So this is a really, really good way to generate content at scale, really good content, but then also to stay ahead of SGE, of when it's going to roll out to every single computer. But to take it a step further, now that you have a lot of this context, right? A lot of these web pages that we're seeing that get higher rankings, I'll show you a really good example. One of them is a client that we're working with right now called Siftex. And a lot of these websites that we're seeing doing well in the rankings actually have different types of multimedia on the page. So this is a good example here. This is a client that we're working with right now. And so you have your traditional text, you have your traditional pictures, you have your traditional like 3D models on that page to make it really, really rank better. And then you have your videos. So another example of how we would be able to improve this page is we have a video here that we shot that's really just B-roll of the client's manufacturing process. So this is kind of how the plastic injection molding happens, right? So they have some automation going on, etc. You can take the text that you've gotten in that context window, write a video script, and then put that audio over this type of video and embed it on that page, upload it to YouTube, and then embed it to the page specifically. So if I were to go back in here and then I write a short video script about this process, right, for Bennett, what's going to happen is ChatGPT is now going to write me a video script based on all of this information. So now it's going to take that data, and what I can do with this data is I can now start to program a voice AI. So let's say, welcome to Bennett Plastics. I can go to a tool like 11 Labs to actually start doing this. And then what this is going to do is it's going to, in a hyper-realistic voice, write this actual video script. And then I can take this video script and put it over that B-roll footage that we generated. So if I go to generate speech, now not only do I have amazing content, but now I can actually have it read. So let's listen to this.
Trusted partner in custom plastic injection molding. At Bennett Plastics, we specialize in creating high-quality plastic parts through the versatile process of plastic injection molding.
So you kind of get the point there, and that audio would go over a video like this. So super, super cool. Really cool ways to make sure that when Search Generative Experience is out there, you're embracing AI and you're not staying in the back end. Once again, if you're not on the SplashDash beta, you should definitely get on the wait list. We are going to be releasing the product soon, and I definitely don't think you should miss out on it, especially in the age of AEO. It's definitely something you're going to want to pay attention to. So thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.